Welcome to the upstreamlife.com. I'm your founder and editor, Vishal Krishna. I've loved blockchain for the last 7 years and the impact that it's had on the world. A lot of thinkers, economics, politics, technology talking about it. Finally, the world is heading in a direction where we see practical use cases. I've got somebody who's worked in this industry for a while. He's been looking at it from an academic point of view and a commercial point of view. I've got Tomasz from Nethermind with me. How are you, Tomasz?
I'm great. Thank you. It's fantastic to be here.
In India?
Yes.
Is this your first time?
It's second time in India. Last year was my first time. I was here in Bangalore as well for a few days.
How do you like the community?
Fantastic. It's like so many people. Attendance is great at the events. You see lots of people very early at the university being interested in learning about the projects, looking for the entrepreneurial opportunity. Probably a bit of exploration of technology. People are very interested in hearing more, and they're very inquisitive. Right? So
and young too, and very young, I guess.
Yeah, I think that here the community is very often like lots of students. I think in other locations, so say a bit more of a mix of the like traditional business and students coming together to the events. Or maybe it's just the nature of the events that I attended in India. It's my perception from like two or three events.
I mean, I'm 43, but when I go to an airport, you see all these young people, and I think I'm already a pensioner at 43. It's strange, isn't it? It's beautiful also. I want to talk about you. How did you enter this blockchain community? Were you always into immutability, trust, collaboration? Is that how you got interested in building this?
I think that my story probably was pushing me in that direction already when I was choosing my interests around university times. I went towards business administration, but also IT and computer science. And I was reading a lot about like the running organizations and a bit of policy making. So I had this interest in how to lead the economics, the organizations, the collaboration between the organizations, and technology underneath. So from university, and later I didn't touch blockchain for a long time. I went to the more a corporate career path. I went towards investment banking. I was in London investment banking, and then London was one of the hubs where people were meeting like in those small underground meetings for blockchain conversations. And I went to one meetup like this. It was like this vaping bar in Shoreditch, and I went there, and I was wearing this suit from it was just after work, so I entered in a suit to this small vaping bar, and everyone was scared like someone is spying on them. Yes. And then I started exploring. They started sharing the ideas with me, and I started reading more and more. And that was 2017. So there are many people with like so much more experience started earlier, but because it's 6 years already, so for many new generations of thinkers, I come with expertise that I want to hear about.
Okay. What does the company solve? Nethermind, what does it solve?
Nethermind was designed as a company that will bring a bit more of a traditional approach in sustainable growth and delivering very high quality engineering solutions, research, consulting. But it was targeted as bringing this approach to blockchain that you really believe in the vision and technology, but you don't want to approach it in a revolutionary way of just discarding traditional finance. We wanted with Nethermind to build solutions thinking that traditional finance will come to blockchain, and that those two worlds will want to innovate together. And I think this is happening now. In 2017 it was a bit more not obvious, it was much less obvious in a sense that blockchain was too small for many of the large companies. They were interested, but they were coming, and there was just the early days and very inefficient technology. Now the money involved is larger, which means that there are more opportunities for careers, and it means also there is opportunity for business. So the large banks, large institutions, the government starts to look at it and think what big problems it can solve.
Okay, and you're solving for all these integrations between the old world and the new world to simplify.
Very much. This is the goal for us to make sure that we connect, that we build bridges between the traditional finance and blockchain, and we do that with this strong belief that the blockchain is fantastic technology, with a lot of fun for the people who work at Nethermind. So we don't want to to lose that feel of exploration, of being independent builders, of feeling like the part of the community, and still bring the enterprise to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're an iBanker who got into this profession of building, decentralized applications, integrating them, of course. What is the current view on blockchain or decentralized application? Do they want to integrate? How will a banking business integrate decentralized applications, for example, or decentralized finance?
Well, this will be a convergence over time. I think it's unavoidable that the governance and much of the financial systems will move on chain, because it's very natural to digitalize. Like the entire world moves to digital space, right? This is something that we've been talking about 10, 20 years ago. And now it was really, really hard to represent the value in that digital space, and blockchain delivered as solutions. When you look at decentralized applications, very often we see the decentralized application defined as a smart contract, something that operates on chain, and totally independent, and totally free from any of the regulations. And many people think that this is the only way, right? But
many people did think it's the only way, but
and they want it this way, right? And you have to also appreciate that this might be the direction that will be important. But for many institutions and governments, it's better to be cautious, to think about it as, this is innovation. We need to digitalize assets. We want to represent the value in the digital space, but we cannot go there without that cautiousness, regulations, and so on, if we want to move already the institutional money in.
Yes.
And those two spaces coexisting is very beautiful. If you have a space that allows anyone to interact with the system, but also protects the large institutional payments from the lack of oversight, and protects it from all the hacking dangers and so on.
These are great use cases. And is the world really moving in that direction? Any early experiments in the banking community or the iBanking community? Do you see?
Definitely.
You don't have to name anybody, but do you think that community is interested? Do they sit in your talks? I know you talk in a lot of places. What's the general feeling like? They want to experiment, or they were saying that, look, it's still, a lot of people think that this is the way. But like you mentioned, you can have your own private blockchains if you wanted. People have already tried Hyperledger, smart contracts. You can have a hybrid of sorts, where you can have immutability from outside. People from outside come in and give consensus. You can have a lot of mixtures, right? I see it that way, though.
Yes, this is very much happening, and I think there are two parts of it. One is, this is a growing opportunity. It's a large business, so we should start dealing with it. And this is traditional finance thinking. This is large enough asset to be interested in it.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that it solves the problem for them. And it means that, this is big, so our customers will need to do, and there is opportunity there. So we'll provide the tooling, and we'll start integrating, like custodian solutions, institutional staking, and so on. That's what we do at TwinStake as well. And the other part is problem solving. So actually, what those institutions are coming to blockchain with, what kind of problems they're coming to blockchain with. And they say, well, in the digital space, when we digitalize assets, what are the benefits and challenges? Challenges are identity on blockchain. Like how do you bind the keys, like the public-private key space of blockchain, traditional thing that you identify yourself only by the number, really, and how do you bind it to the physical world? So digital identity, the reputation tracking in the on-chain behavior with the respect of privacy. And blockchain is a bit of like this dance between transparency and privacy, because what should be transparent, what should be private? Like you would like to have transparency of mechanisms for those institutions. They won't want to say, we interact with each other, with governments, with other institutions, want to see what happens there, because we don't want to trust each other. Like those institutions want to play business and verify what each other is doing, but want to provide privacy to our users to protect their data, to protect their the trading information, and so on. Not the other way around, but you also have the risks of ending up with the other way around solution. So institutions come and say, we want to solve the problems of the digital world. We want to solve the problems also of reconciliations between like the large corporations, so like the government's dealing with like policies, their big money tracking, treasury reconciliations. this happens, like the accounting and reconciliations, there's a massive mess in large institutions, right? They keep losing money. They keep like comparing the numbers.
Happens every 15 years or so, yes.
So blockchain definitely helps with this verification. It says like everything has to match and everything can be verified super fast, which means that you have massive amount of computation done that can be verified almost
very
immediately.
Quickly, yes. And you're right on the privacy part of it. For example, banks, when we go for a loan or something, they know everything about where you're spending your money. You've been to a restaurant. They know everything, right? Blockchain can actually help saying this person is a verified customer. Your information is kept private, and yet somebody can verify saying that yes, you can lend to this individual, right? Instead of taking their entire transactional history, right? And that's a sort of privacy, is not the application of blockchain perhaps, or in a Web3 world, right?
Yeah, so this kind of selective disclosures, or like range disclosures that we say that in blockchain are possible with the cryptographical mechanism. That I can say, if someone requires me to have particular annual income to take a loan, like to mortgage, for example, say, or maybe rent a flat. I'm coming and say, I would like to rent a flat, and say, prove me that your monthly income is above this number. I can tell them, yes, sure, here is a proof that it's above this number, but I don't have to tell you whether it's 10 times above this number or just above. And that's the level of privacy that seems most convincing, because with privacy you can go in the risky areas of saying that you support illegal activities and you know nothing about what happens. You can go also in the risky area of no privacy at all, where everyone can check everyone's behaviors, details, which may pose a risk for people who want to because some of my illegal activity may target people who are visibly better off, right? Like you may say, oh, this person is wealthy, they keep lots of assets, so we target them, and you want to protect those people.
It's interesting. I want to draw one more analogy, and let me know. I mean, this is just a general thought, not your. I want your personal thoughts. Need not represent your company. I want to set that very clear to the audience, because you come from the world of finance previously. The VC community, obviously the venture capital community, the private equity companies, they raise a lot of money from LPs, limited partners, right? And there's no information flow there too, right? The LPs are asking, why is there no return? We have a 7-year timeline, but the fund has gone to 11, 12. Why haven't returns happened, right? There's a good way for blockchain to apply in this type of use case too. Where has the money gone in? Why has it gone in, right? How much will my return be? There are use cases like this.
Very often, probably. I feel that this is not always the problem of technology. I mean, question is, can you really solve tracking where the money went without blockchain? The majority of the cases, yes, because there are some much higher level trust issues than just the calculation. Like when you're a limited partner, VC, you're investing. The trust is everywhere, so the blockchain will not solve all the trust requirements, because you trust the founder, you trust the partners. So blockchain doesn't solve that much. I mean, it may help with reconciliation of all the different systems. Let's say that if we all want it to be fine between us, like we want to track it together, we make sure that we verify quickly. We can limit the amount of computation that we have to do if it's very complex. Not in this case. Like we see, it shouldn't be complex computation. You want to track it, you want to have some transparency. Not necessarily here.
Not necessarily, okay.
And this is something that I very often encourage people to think that the blockchain should be. There are some potentially simple cases that are very often advertised as this is what blockchain solves, and then people intuitively feel like, well, why do I need it? This doesn't seem like such a problem.
I'm glad you're answering that question. So the use cases are limited, you're saying, at this point of time?
They are always limited, but not limited in the sense that they're not extremely valuable now.
How about this example? Say farm to fork. Everybody talks about traceability of vegetables from the farm, whether they're pesticide free, And the supply chain, is it perfect? Is it creating all the numbers? Are they verified? Is it reaching the store fresh? Is it really nutritious to the customer? Is that a use case?
It's often mentioned as a
Yes.
use case, and again, it seems to be not getting traction. So this is one of those
Why
early
is
use
that? Why do
cases.
you think? Yes.
So I remember the use cases like supply chain tracking, the medical records, and a few other things like privacy, which always feel to be like failing in delivery because blockchain sometimes is a bit less powerful when you have to connect the physical world and the on-chain, like the digital world.
Got it.
So the thing is, in the supply chain, you have to somehow tag the items, track the items, but in the physical world, you can replace the item and kind of
Yes.
fake it, maybe remove the tag, and then
It can be tampered.
Yes, but in the digital space, very often you can really bind the assets to the blockchain representation. There's no way to tamper with it, and more value originates in the digital space and travels only in digital space, like NFTs, the art, but also the ownership, like some kind of certifications of
Correct.
ownership. If I'm a certified like a notary or like the authority that can give you the ownership of a property.
Yes.
It originates already on blockchain and it travels, and there is no way. Once again, the property will be related to, if it's a physical property, then it becomes a problem.
Correct, got it.
Because how do you represent that it got damaged? That's like someone took on all the. But if the property is also digital, then blockchain is fantastic, and probably more and more value will
now it
be
makes more sense.
So that's why we talk
So
about
this is a
metaverses,
digital
right?
property.
So,
Digital property.
yes, and for digital property, there's no better solution than blockchain, and the value of digital property probably sooner or later will get higher than the value of all the physical property.
Okay.
in the
At
world.
what stage of the curve are we on? Low-end adoption, high-end adoption, hockey stick. I mean, we bring in all these terms you would have been used to. Where are we at this stage? You know, you're right. When people build on blockchain or Web3, they identify a use case. This digital property is something very important. It need not be physical. You don't have to apply it to the physical world. This is interesting. So when people build, they often get confused, or are people making up too many narratives as you see it?
Yes, I feel there are some intuitions that are wrong that happen at the beginning of exploring of blockchain. I had them as well. I like this was feeling, oh, this is the way, and then you maybe after a few months of heavy reading, you start to realize that this is extremely powerful technology, but very often it's suggested as a solution to the problems that feel like the most obvious at the beginning. But the problems that are really important and really being solved by this technology, they're so convincing later. You go deeper into it and you think, oh, this is revolutionizing the way how the economy and the collaboration and the governance appears in this new world, like the digital.
Correct, complete digital world. Yeah,
You know,
I get
we
it.
know metaverse is this like funny looking characters walking around, and we think, oh, this is just a joke, right? So metaverse looks for us very, very funny now, but in the future it will be evolving, right? Which means that you really will have this existence, the digital existence. You'll be caring a lot about the ownership there, about your economic activity there, and there'll be no other way. And also, like, representation of all the assets in the world probably will move to the on-chain.
That's where you're saying we need a consensus mechanism. That's where we need immutability and trust in that kind of a setting.
We need a very strong technology with like lots of research in space of the like cryptographical primitives that we're using, the protocol design, the robustness of the protocol. So as you say, like the consensus mechanism. There's also research in mathematics and cryptography around that space, and in computer science, and we're building it better and better.
Yeah.
And it might be more reliable for the world that comes. You know, we talk about our digital assets. We talk about our digital identity. We talk about our digital like web reputation. Something that's disconnected from the real world, but it might be that will be 99% of our economical activity in the future. And we talk about...
And that's a few years away now, as you say.
Very likely it will be progressing very fast. And for many people, even nowadays, their digital wealth is much higher than
Yes, I've heard.
in many developing economies. People may be really constrained economically. Like
A lot of the
because
hedge funds have digital wealth.
Yes, obviously. And this is a reason that sometimes the less limitations in the digital space to multiply, right?
Correct.
Like there are less concepts of maybe things passing, fading, and inheritance and taxes and so on. So it's easier to amass over time.
I'm
And I
glad you
think
said
these are also
inheritance. I'm
challenges.
sure inheritance also will go digital now with the wills.
Very, very likely, and this will be lots of minor challenges of like legal aspects of blockchain,
Right.
digital wealth, and so on.
I want to talk about the team you're building.
Uh-huh.
You yourself are a global nomad. You go where you're talking, you're meeting people.
Yes.
How do you manage your team, and how do you build this for the ecosystem?
That's so. Nethermind now is like really 200 people collaborating
Okay.
together. So company is based in UK, and that's why it has permanent employees, but also collaborates with people from 50 countries. And this was always an all remote company. And the pandemic globally pushed lots of companies to this like all remote formats, and they had to learn it. But for us, it was natural. We just continued.
You're always
working on
doing
this.
that, yes.
And maybe because we already had experience, all the people that suddenly during the pandemic started looking for the place where they will feel like everything is designed properly for that remote work, they found a way to us. And as soon as the company was growing very well in the last 3 years.
Got it.
And how do we manage people? Very natural. It just
It's
feels
natural.
natural.
You feel natural because you're born remote.
Yes,
That's
logging
true.
into to our Slack
You're not
channels.
locked into any real estate as such. That's wonderful. Okay, how should companies are large corporations in India or globally, do they come to you to understand how they can move into a decentralized world? Is that part of, today you're an open community, have you monetized saying that we'll consult with you, we'll help you? Is that happening?
Yes, definitely. So this is a large part of the revenue model for Nethermind. So we collaborate with designers of the protocols, but we also help the large corporations to understand. Like very often they come with very much understanding already, and they choose us because they know that they can build with us arbitrary complexity of the blockchain systems. But they also sometimes come to ask first questions, like introductory questions,
How
right?
does it work, really?
That's what we're building even more nowadays. Like thinking we'll work with lots of consulting, like management consulting companies, and tell them that we come with the full guidance of how to enter the blockchain, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense.
That's interesting. I mean, really. So, being a global nomad, do you get time to read? Do you get time to how do you unwind really? Do you get time to? I know networking is great. We are at the Build for Web3 conference or 2023. But apart from the networking, how do you unwind?
No, I think that I'm very, very much dedicated to work. It's a bit of my like this positive sense of addiction. Like I'm laughing that I used to play lots of like computer games or like strategy. I stopped playing computer games in the last 2 years. I didn't touch them really, almost not at all. And I replaced it with building the company. And it feels like it's the same addiction. It brings the same fascination of just managing, designing something. But it feels like it brings much more added value for everyone and building together. It means that you have so many friends in the industry. Me being a nomad, but I meet many of my friends on the road. Like we travel together for short terms, and we split. That I meet other people. I meet new people at conferences. It's fantastic. It gives a lot of.
Would you say I'm a fan of history? So Thomas, you have to tell me, are we in a sort of a cusp of change in the world with this technology?
The change to the world with the technology of blockchain.
Yes, we saw the industrial revolution. We saw the internet revolution. You know, people talk industry 4.0 now, and now we're talking this, right? I mean, do you see it in a very special position for you? I mean, say
I think economically, maybe I'm so used to talking about blockchain that I see it less as a revolution, more as a tool. So the revolution was the fact that we started representing everything digitally, and blockchain is the tool that helps you to govern that. It's a bit like, would say, that when people started creating cities, but then you had needs for maybe like legal systems, and they started having this economic activity. But would you say that it's like introduction of the legal systems was this like revolution that everyone remembers as it was so important? The introduction of laws felt like that they were the
building
tool
blocks.
that
They were
was
the building
necessary
blocks,
for the coexistence of people together in a community. So it's a bit like I see the blockchain is this necessary laws for coexistence in a digital space.
Would you say it's like the early days of Rome? City to
it's early days of
city to
something
republic.
special. Maybe like some science fiction novels, like when we read them and we think how the future of civilizations may look.
Which would be city, kingdom, republic, then dictatorship, and back to square one.
Maybe some kind of like cyberspace, cyberpunk, and then fall forward solarpunk ideas.
Why not?
Something.
Thomas, this has been interesting. All the best to you. Hopefully host you in my studio next time. Thank you for meeting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.